Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so this video is it's going to be about belief. Not sure if I want to use the word faith. Another word I want to use is the word knowing. I came across a video, a short on YouTube, and it was a movie that was made a while back that I actually forgot about. But there's a scene in it which really, I think it depicts the core of what it's all about, what everything is all about. So I'm going to pre-frame it in this way. So I allowed myself to go to different religions, different temples, and it showed me something that I never would have seen if I didn't do it. When I was spending time with Buddhist monks, I was going during the week. I didn't go during the, call it the mass or whatever you want to call it, when they all gather together, like Christians do it at church on Sundays. And one day a Buddhist monk had said, you really should go. I want you to experience that. And I was like, okay. So I went there about an hour before, got to say hello to people, meet people, greet, and all that stuff. And then we went to the temple, and Buddha Chandi, he was, doing the, I don't know if we call it the sermon, but, the prayer, the meditation, all that stuff. And afterwards, you would have lunch, and some people left, and I thought, wow, this is exactly like going to a Christian church. It's the same thing. Now, there's something that really stood out to me. Right now, as I'm making this video, I realized why suddenly the monk had said, it wasn't just one, it was a couple of monks, like, hey, you really need to go. They didn't say go on a regular basis, but you need to just go. So I went like once or twice, and something stood out to me. I realized Christians are just like Buddhists, and here's what I mean. I'm not talking about your belief or your ego talk. I realized something not only about the people, but also about some of the monks. There are those who believe, or what I like to say, those who know, and there's those who, well, they follow the rules. They're there for religion, to do what they're told, to how do I be a good person. In other words, some of them were very spiritual, very few, and most of them were just, they were there as a gathering. It was like a religious thing. It's kind of part of their life. It's what they did. They didn't believe. In fact, it really, for a lot of people, either religion, it's really not about spirit. It's really not about faith or believing, let alone actually knowing. It's kind of like, well, hey, we're supposed to fit in the box, and what are the rules that we're supposed to live by? And what's right or wrong? Who gets punished and who doesn't? So for the very few, it's as Christ spoke. He said it's about spirit and truth. So I'm going to play this video clip, and then I'm going to share different sections of the video, and I'm going to talk about it. And it may actually make you cry. It's a very powerfully emotional video.
Why do you want the cross with you? It's just like a reminder. Of what? That Jesus is with me. Do you think he's with me too? Of course he is.
Your roommate?
Her name's Anna. They live in Texas. She told me not to be afraid to die.
Why'd she say that?
Because she's not afraid. She says God is always with her. I want to give you something. I want Haley to have it. Thank you. You're welcome.
I'd appreciate it if your daughter didn't fill her head with that kind of stuff. Just don't want anyone to give her false hope. I hope you can understand that.
More than you know.
Is it possible that Anna wasn't as sick as you said she was?
She's I'm sorry. Are you kidding?
I'm sure you can all understand this is a little hard to believe.
I believe her. I've never been a religious person, but my beautiful daughter, died recently. Her name was Haley, and she was 10. For the last few weeks of her life were different. She felt safe. She felt loved. She felt God. And she felt that way because Anna gave her faith. She gave her peace. So I came here today from Boston to thank Annabelle and to thank you for sharing his story.
So one of the first things I want to share is the first part about the woman who said, "Oh, was she as bad as you made it out to be?" And then her husband said, "I'm sure you can understand this is hard to believe. This is a strong Christian church of non-believers." It literally goes against their belief. I didn't realize until I was in my probably mid-20s, maybe a little bit later than that. Yeah, actually a bit later than that, when I realized, I was the only one in the church who actually believed. I mean, real faith. I used to think everybody was like that. And it was pointed out to me by a pastor, by two pastors, powerful pastors in big churches, no, Michael, very, very few people actually believe. They say they believe, but very few people actually believe. So these two pastors who I really loved, they were probably more like a father to me than my own father. And I looked at them for guidance for the longest time, and I remember starting reading scripture. Pastor, I don't want to say their name, and I said, "Well, Jesus says, if you believe, you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer." And he kind of, and it's like, well, it says right here, if you say into this mountain, if you believe and you say into this mountain, throw yourself onto the ocean, it shall be so. And he's, Michael, and I read off another one I can't remember off the top of my head. He goes, Jesus didn't really mean what he said. And the funny thing is, the day before I marked, it was earlier in that chapter, maybe the chapter 4, where Jesus says, mean what you say and say what you mean. And I was like, what? And I got kind of odd that I had just read that the day before and it stood out and I marked it. So I flipped to that and I looked at him and go, so Jesus here, I go, so you mean the man that said, say what you mean and mean what you say, didn't mean what he said? And I showed him the verse, and he got quiet. And he literally went like that, and it broke my heart. And then the pastor of this other church, because I actually was going back and forth between churches, and so to that pastor, I had said to him, I said, "I'm done." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I'm never going to church again." I go, "I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't be around people who don't believe." I go, "I'm done fighting this." I knew right then I was not meant to be there. So the other church, I was actually an associate pastor at the time at that church. And this actually happened a few weeks before that, I think, actually, now I think about it. And I was reading verses off and this and this and that. I go, well, why don't we just tell them that, like in plain language and say it? And he goes, well, you can't do that. I go, I'll do it. You don't have to do it. I'll do it. And he goes, you can't do that? I said, why? He goes, they don't want to hear. I'd say they don't want to believe. No, he said, they don't want to hear that. And I was like, what? This was scripture. This was words of Jesus. I was done. I don't think these people are bad or wrong or anything like that. And that's not the point of this video. The point is to really share what was in that video. So just yesterday I was on Facebook and I saw this, I don't know what you call it, like a meme with that typing in it, and it was talking about how Jesus was doing miracles, and then I always forget the name, the priests at the time, whatever you call them, rabbis, they rebuked him. They said, oh, you must be doing this not in the name of the devil, but by the works of the devil or something like that. Sorry, I don't have the scripture in front of me right now. And what it was saying was, this is blasphemy to God. God does a miracle and you deny it. And it went on to say, like, Jesus was doing these miracles in front of these people, and they would say, it'd find a way to turn it around. Oh, well, that's not possible. So it must be the work of the devil. And you're literally denying what God is showing you. You're denying God's miracle. Now that is blasphemy. Now, this isn't about punishing and saying, oh, they're bad or wrong. If that's what you're getting, I probably shouldn't even use the word blasphemy, but that's what this thing was talking about. And it just kind of hit me, and I should have copied it so I could show it to you. So one of the, and I would say it was the only disappointing thing or heartbreaking thing in the Buddhist temple, was I started to realize, like, this is exactly like the Christian. Like, you got to understand, in my heart, in my soul, in the fullness of my body, my mind, my spirit, I just assumed all Buddhists were very spiritual people. They all believed in healing. And it broke my heart when I was like, they don't. But it was the same thing in the Christian church when they told me, like, Michael, most churches have 1 to 2% of people who are true, deep believers. What I use the word knowing. The rest of them, they're just kind of stumbling and bumbling along. They're not even searching. They're not even looking. They're just doing what everyone else is doing. They're living in fear, which blocks off that connection. So they're just trying. See, when you're in a state of fear, it puts you in that part of your brain. And you're in the either or mentality. That's the way you see things. And so you just don't want to get punished. You don't want God to hurt you. You don't want God to guilt you and shame you. And the thing is, God's not. But when you're in that either or, box A or box B mentality, you think, well, there's only two choices. I'm either doing good or I'm doing bad, and I don't want to get in trouble. So, like, I'm going to go to church to find out how not to get in trouble. And I'm like, that's not, that has nothing to do with God or Jesus or Spirit at all. So what happens is this fear state puts you in this either or mentality, the A or B box. And what I do is I teach people how to get out of that state and how to open up to break. Like, how there's like walls around this rectangle and these squares. Like, you disappear them and then you just have nothing but expansion and awareness. That's how you tune into God. Another way of saying is, that's, as Jesus said, spirit and truth. That's how you tune into spirit. That's how you become aware of truth. So I want to say a couple things before I move on to the video clip. Number one, God is there. All you have to do is quiet your mind and quiet your heart, quiet your spirit. Having a good cry, like that video made me cry. I played it over and over. And I cried a lot, and it really cleared, it calms your mind, it calms your heart, it opens you up. I could give you a list of things to do, such as stretching for 15, 20, 30 minutes, deep breathing techniques, praying for a long time, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, can really, really tune you into God, and you start to know what to do. You have a clear mind, and you're like, I got it. So if we can get you out of the either or thinking. Oh, by the way, if I didn't make this very clear in any of my videos, I realize I don't think I ever made this really clear. This is what I specialize in. If there's one core piece, it's grounding your energy, bringing you internal, and expanding your awareness so you can pop out of the limiting A or B boxes. And this brings you into the present moment, and that's where you connect with spirit and truth. You're conscious, you're just in the moment, and you're aware. Hey, let me know if this is the type of videos that you guys like, because right now I'm really feeling this right now. I'm really enjoying this video. So one of the things about religions and churches is there's this constant pressure to fit in the box, to fit in the group, to fit in this same beliefs, the same everything, to just conform. And I'm here to tell you that is not what this is about at all. That's not what I'm about at all. When I work with individuals, when I work with people, I don't care what your values are. I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care what religion you have. That's another thing, a message I want to make really clear. If you think I'm here trying to say, hey, you need to believe in Jesus, you need to join my religion, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to, and this is what the video is about, to open you up, to wake you up, to show you how to awaken so you can connect with the Spirit, so you can connect with God. Whatever that means to you. Now here's the other thing, I'll call it number 2, is you don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Spiritual 24/7, round the clock, and all that jazz. I would say it really is helpful if you're really good at grounding yourself and tuning in when you need to and when you want to. So the internal awareness and emotionally grounding techniques that I teach you show you in how to pop out of the A or B thinking, the either or mentality, and open up to a much larger, much more powerful you, being in the present moment, expanding. You literally open up to a greater portion of your, call it intelligence. So developing the ability to connect with God, to connect with Spirit and truth. I don't want to use like a word. I want you to use your own word when I use the word God, okay? Because it's what I'm about is saying, hey, you can't just one day have something horrible happen and then go, okay, I've never developed how to open up or how to connect with God, but I need it right now. I would say learn how to do it so you can do it at will when you need to or when you want to. So let's watch the video one more time, and I'm going to teach you how to, I'm going to say it this way for now, is how to push the button.
Why do you want the cross with you? It's just like a reminder. Of what? That Jesus is with me. Do you think he's with me too? Of course he is.
Your roommate.
Her name's Anna. They live in Texas. She told me not to be afraid to die.
Why'd she say that?
Because she's not afraid. She says God is always with her. I want to give you something. I want Haley to have it. Thank you. You're welcome.
I'd appreciate it if your daughter didn't fill her head with that kind of stuff. Just don't want anyone to give her false hope. I hope you can understand that.
More than you know.
Is it possible that Hannah wasn't as sick as you said she was?
She's serious.
I'm sorry. Are you kidding?
I'm sure you can all understand this is a little hard to believe.
I believe her. I've never been a religious person, but my beautiful daughter, died recently. Her name was Haley, and she was 10. But the last few weeks of her life were different. She felt safe. She felt loved. She felt God. And she felt that way because Anna gave her faith. She gave her peace. So I came here today from Boston to thank Annabelle and to thank you for sharing her story.
So years ago I realized how there was a way to help people to understand the word faith and the word belief, and so why do they keep saying that? What's that all about? So a lot of people, even church people, religious people, it's almost like their level of faith is like, well, I'm going through a hard time and I'm just supposed to have faith. I'm just supposed to believe. Like there's nothing you can do. And I'm just supposed to have faith that, well, God has a plan, and it's like this helpless, useless plan, this helpless way of being. Like you have no anything in your life, no control, nothing where you can alter things or help things or shift things, or I don't like to use the word control. I'm trying to find a better word. Affect things. To have power and influence over the way things happen. In fact, people, it's like they live on this surface level, and these are the people, you gotta have faith, you gotta believe, and they say it every day. If you guys met me outside of my YouTube video and you never knew about my YouTube videos or my work, you would probably never hear me say the word faith. Very, very rarely. Oh, gotta have faith, gotta believe. That's ego talk. It's okay. This is what I mean by surface level. It's like they get in their car and they go, well, if it's the Lord's will, the car will start and it'll start moving. No, just grab your key, put it in the ignition, turn the ignition. See, voila. These things that happen to you in your life are showing you, hey, here's an opportunity. Now, I don't even want to use that word because for many years that word just made me feel like, yeah, whatever, man, that's not real. Here is something that God's saying, hey, here you go. Let me put this in your life so I can show you, so you can see for yourself that you have power to change things simply by knowing. And that's a better word. Okay, when you get into your car and you have your key, do you think it's going to work? Do you believe it's going to work? Or do you know, yeah, if I put my key in here and I turn it over, vroom, the engine's going to start, okay? You don't believe that. You know that. That's what I'm talking about. It's a knowing. Now, to get there, you do have to have pure faith. You just believe. It's almost like, yeah, I know this is going to work. So the first time you got in the car and you put the key in the ignition, the very first time, you knew it was going to work because it worked for other people. You saw it work. They told you it was work. They said, this is how, listen closely, this is how you start the car. Quick edit. Let me correct myself. You don't have to have 100% pure belief. That I should not have said that. Just do it. Have fun with it. Play with it. Learn it. Just practice. Experiment with things. See what you can do. See how far you can go. Our churches don't teach us the how at all. In fact, that part was left out. When Jesus said, thou shalt not want, because if you want, you're going to have, you, in your hand is going to be, I want. It's not having. So if you imagine having, you have it. It will come. No questions about it. It's the same thing as knowing. That's the button, knowing. Another way of saying that is imagine having. If you imagine wanting, wanting is over there, so it's over there. Imagine having is I have it right here. It's in my garage. It's in my hands. I know it. It's literally like a light switch. All you're doing is flipping the switch. That's all you're doing. It's nothing more than that. That's why the Bible says have faith the size of a mustard seed, because a mustard seed is tiny. You know, a lot of churches, well, yeah, but when you plant it, it begins to grow and grow and has this great big faith, like a big tree that grew. No, it's literally as tiny. See, when you, okay, let me ask you a question. For those of you who can walk and, you know, don't have any like disabilities, is it hard for you to flip a light switch? No, it's easy. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Do you believe you can do it, or do you know you can do it? You absolutely know. When you have that kind of faith. Now, that's a lot of people like, oh, it's like, well, lifting weights, gotta have faith, gotta be strong, gotta believe. No, it's just flip the switch. It's really easy. It's so tiny. The amount of faith that you need to have is so tiny. It's the size of a grain of a mustard seed. One of the smallest seeds there are. Another thing that I at this moment, I haven't researched it yet. I'm starting to believe that the word believe and the word faith were mistranslated or replaced with the word or sayings of knowing. Because if I constantly tell you over and over to believe, you're going to believe. You're not going to know. You're not going to be entering the state of knowing. You're going to be in the state of, well, I believe, which means you don't know. I really don't want you to believe. I want you to know. So when these things come up, such as cancer or illness or injury, this is God saying, I want you to find your power. Just do it. Here's another way of looking at it. It's the difference between the emotional state of faith and believing versus the emotional state of knowing. The emotional state of knowing and having. So suddenly the target or the goal shifts from believing to knowing. So your goal, your job is to get yourself into that state of mind of knowing. So that's what you need to begin to practice and developing, is that state of the emotional state of knowing. Essentially what we're doing, we're getting, like when I say knowing, I feel it in my chest area. I feel it in my heart. You're opening up to the right brain. So this is an internal way of being. It's being in the present moment. I don't care what works for you. See, that's the thing. There is no one way. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. Some people believe if they put money up on the counter at a certain time of day, then it's going to multiply within the next couple of days or the week. If they know that, if they get to the point where, like, oh, every time I do this, I know it's going to happen, it will happen. If you believe going to a Buddhist monk and him putting a blessing on you and for whatever you want or need, if you believe like, oh, every time I go to Buddha.com, it happens, it's going to happen. Same thing with a talisman, such as a cross or a certain symbol or something, maybe a ring that you wear or whatever. If you really believe it. See, here's the thing. I don't care what the belief is. It doesn't matter what the belief is. The ultimate way, because now you don't need anything external at all, not even a Buddhist monk, not even me, is for you to understand it's all about knowing and getting into that emotional state inside. Now you don't need a ring or a cross or a sage or whatever. You have this power everywhere you go. It's inside you and it always has been. That's it right there. That's what this video is about, and that's what Jesus was trying to teach you. From that place, from that space, you can make miracles happen. And it doesn't always have to be some big, dying of cancer kind of thing. It could be like, okay, here's one way that I built up my faith when I was going through a really rough time about, I think it was like 12 years ago or something like that. One of the things that I was never one of those people that found money. My brother would one day, it was like 1978, we were kids, he found like $220. He bought a whole home stereo, stacked speakers. Nowadays that would probably cost about $1,200 or maybe even $2,000, but $220 back then was a lot. But he found $40 one day, $25, $100 bill, and I'm like, man, this guy just always finds money, like a lot of money. Now back then, $100 was, hell, $20 was a lot of money. So I was hurting about 12, 15 years ago, and I was just like, God, please, just anything, just something. And then a $20 bill came into mind. And I thought, I've never found the $20 bill. I found the dollar. I think I even found the $5 bill, I think once. But other than that, it was like a quarter, a nickel, a couple change. And I just forgot about it. I prayed about it and imagined having it, and I just, I gotta give up. And that's the funny thing. That's one of the secrets, is letting it go. Don't keep thinking about it, just let it go. I let go because I was not tired, not exhausted, but I was tired of the whole thing. I just was having a hard time. And I said, oh, whatever. And about an hour later, I went for a walk. And guess what I found right in the middle of the street? Yep, a $20 bill. Man, did that launch me back into believing mode or knowing mode. Like all of a sudden, I remember I grabbed it. I looked up at God. I was like, okay, I get it. And that's the whole thing. If ye believe, you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer. In that moment, I did believe, yeah, I could imagine finding a $20 bill. A $100 bill? No. 1,000? 2,000? Nah. But 20? Yeah, I know that's possible. And that's why I found it. And then I imagined getting $400, getting a tip from a client where it equaled $400, and it happened. So this is the journey that you can begin to go on until you're healing people of cancer. See, it's not necessarily that your belief gets stronger. It's more like you're like, yeah, I can do that. It becomes that grain of seed again. It's like, yeah, like all of a sudden you're doing things that 5 years ago you thought, oh, I can't do that. And now you're like, yeah, I can do this. You just go up the ladder. So I want you to know one thing. I'm not closer to God than you are. You're just as close. I just want you guys to be happy. Alright, God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.